Today we're going to look at making a study calendar to help you plan your studying in preparation for final exams. The calendar in this example will be for June 2018. But if you're a Spectrum student, you'll notice that on the left-hand side, the calendar template should be for the correct month, whether it's January or June of your current year. On the back, for June 2018, we have our final week of exams for those of you writing English 12 provincials or the numeracy assessment. There are also tips for everyone on planning your calendar, and those are the ones we'll go through today. You'll notice at the top that there's a place for you to list the courses that you're taking right now. There are also little boxes for you to color code them if that's something that will help you keep track of what you're studying and make your calendar easier to read. For example, if you're taking English, Math, French, and PE, you can assign colors to each of the courses that need studying for final exams. You'll also notice that the Copernican blocks are listed here for Spectrum students. As you know, most of your exams will take place on these days, so you can fill them in right away and color code them if you want. Let's have a look at those tips for planning our study calendar. The first is to pick one of your courses and list out all of the topics that you need to study. Things like your course outline or homework lists will help you remember all of the different topics that you've covered that semester. In math, you might list out your chapters with little reminders about what happened in each chapter. Your second step is to prioritize the topics from most challenging to easiest. You want to make sure that this is focused on your own studying needs. For example, if you found exponents the hardest, list them first. Then work your way down to the chapter you found the easiest, for example, chapter 5. You're also going to have to figure out how many days you have left to study. So work backwards from the exam date and count how many days there are between then and now. Do not include really busy days or days like Fridays when you know you won't study. You want to set yourself up for success. Group your study topics into however many study days you have left. So for example, if you count 13 days, then you're going to use that to help you break up your study topics. Make sure to include a couple of days for overall review. This helps make sure you have time to catch all those little things, and also in case your studying doesn't go quite as well as you had planned, you have a bit of extra time left at the end. Your plan might look something like this. You'll assign a day or two to each of the topics that you have to study, and you want to break them down into the pieces that you need to take care of. So for example, if you're going to spend 2 days on Chapter 7, you might list 7.2, 4, and 5 on your first day, and then 7.6, 7, and 8 on the second day of Chapter 2, which you can then put in your study calendar. Your final step is to slot those topics into the different days. I recommend you start with the trickiest stuff early on so that you can get the most help with it. Some students like to start with an easier topic to get the ball rolling. This is a good strategy too. Just make sure you have time for those really hard topics and enough time to get help. Here's what your study calendar might look like. You'll notice that the exams are filled in at the end, and everything's color-coded. And if you have a look at a particular day, you'll see that right near the end you're doing overall review and working backwards from the easier topics like Chapter 5 and Chapter 2, all the way up to that first day of studying, getting back into that tricky Chapter 4. Keep in mind, block off days to have fun, and block up days when you know that you're going to be busy with something else. You can pause the video and have a look at this calendar in more detail, or you can get started on your own calendar.